Hello, my friends. Today's episode is going to be a little bit shorter than normally for two reasons. Number one, the subject is not one that requires a lot of time, and number two, I've had a super long week, and the subject has been one of those things that's helped me get through a very long and stressful week. So, I'm excited to talk about this. Now, for those of you who came to the workshop, the open and go experience is finally live. So you can click the link in the show notes for the open and go experience. I've had several people ask about that. It is live for you now. And then finally, I have a special bonus podcast coming this week. So stay tuned because there is a bonus podcast coming this week to kick off the whole. Okay, as I mentioned, this week has been a very long week. And the thing that I want to talk about today has helped me get through this week. Now, for those three of you who follow me on Instagram, just kidding, there's more than three. I think there might be four. I have been doing a challenge for the last 15 days. Today marks the halfway point of the challenge. And the challenge has been to walk 30 minutes outside for 30 days. Super simple challenge. But for some people, that's a big challenge. Now, why am I doing this challenge? Well, because, and it's totally free. Like you just do it and then you post about it. So back in 2020, and I talked about this in a previous episode, but I feel like it's important enough that we need to revisit it. Back in 2020, right after everything started shutting down in March, it was like March or April. Somebody posted, one of my friends posted it on Facebook that they were doing a walking challenge to walk 2 miles for 30 days. And so I decided that I wanted to take the challenge. Now, at the time, I was 229 pounds. And so I took the challenge, and it was hard for me. I didn't walk fast. I had talked to another friend who's totally fit, very healthy. She works out an insane amount of hours a day. Like she's like, that's kind of her thing. That's what she does. And I asked her why she ran, and she said she ran because it was good for her brain, that she actually just that's the only reason. That's the only reason she did that exercise. She did strength training for her physique, but she ran for her mind. Well, I don't like running. And so when I saw this other walking challenge by a different friend, I thought I could do that. I'm going to do that. And so I did it. And then when the 30 days was up, I decided to do my own little challenge to walk 2 miles for 365 days, of which I did. And then I kept walking, and I kind of teetered and fell off the bandwagon here and there, a little bit. But I've kept up the walking over the years. And it was really funny because people would ask me, they're like, do you walk to lose weight? And granted, I did lose some weight during 2020 as a result of that walking. However, I was also on an eating plan, one of those prepackaged food plans. But what I found was, yes, the walking did help me with my weight, but more importantly, it helped me with my brain and with my mind. Fast forward, here we are today. I'm doing my second walking challenge of the year. This time I changed it. Instead of doing 2 miles, I'm doing just 30 minutes, and you don't even have to be fast. And so we're on day 15. Again, this is the second challenge that I've put out for people to do, is to walk 2 miles for 30 minutes. Sorry about that. To walk 30 minutes for 30 days outside. And it's important that it's outside because there are great benefits from just being in nature, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I do want to give you a success that I had yesterday, in that, y'all, I got on the scale. And whereas a year and a half ago, I was 229 pounds, Yesterday, I got on and I am 145 pounds after a year and a half of daily walking, strength training. I'm up to 5 days a week of strength training, recording all my food every single day, checking in with a coach and doing my measurements and all the things. And I must add that I had my hormones checked and fixed and balanced, and my thyroid, because I'm old now and I have one that I didn't know I had before, but I do. Like, y'all that are young, when you get old, you have a thyroid. It affects you. So after a year and a half and taking care of all these things, it's been a long haul. But for the first time in 19 years, when I checked my BMI, my body mass index, I officially am no longer in the overweight category. I am in a normal weight category. And that's something that I haven't been in for 19 years, almost 19 years. When I got married, I was roughly like between 140, 145. And so this was a big, it's been a big deal for me the last 24 hours. But one of the major things that I do to keep that in check is to walk. And so I want to talk about walking for just a few minutes for this very short podcast. It is such a simple thing. I say this often. I say it with my kids. I brought it up in the workshop on Friday, that small hinges swing big doors, whether that's you're reading aloud to your kids or you're having dinner as a family or you're tucking your children in. Walking is one of those small hinges that swings really, really big doors. And it's usually the little things that make the biggest difference in our lives. And so I just want to talk about some of the benefits that I've experienced from walking, as well as what's out there, like what they know are known benefits. Number one, it boosts your immune function. Number two, it boosts your mood. If you are in a bad mood, and usually when I'm in a bad mood, or I'm really sad, or I'm really not in a great place, a walk outside sure changes that. Like it helps me. It doesn't necessarily make everything better, but it makes me more capable of handling it mentally. It increases cardiac health. It reduces depression. This is super important for me because throughout my life, I've had depression. I had depression as a teenager. I've had postpartum depression. And I've found that walking helps keep that absolutely in check. And I always feel better after I come back from a walk, particularly when it's cold outside. Last night, I had a really good night last night. Like, we had fun as a family. And it was one of those, just everyone was, Katie was reading and Jacob and Carol were playing a board game. And my 22, Josh and James were having a deep discussion. And Jason, was filling out his ballots and filling out the ballot. And I was about to sit down and fill out the ballot with him. And so it was a really good night, but I needed to go on my walk because I'm part of this challenge. I had to get my walk in for the day, and I didn't get it in yesterday morning. And it was snowing and it was cold. And I put on a coat and my hat and my gloves. And it was wet snow. So it was more like rain. It was very rainy, wet snow. But I came home and I felt like $1,000,000. I mean, it felt so good to have the cold on my face. And man, does it ever reduce depression? Does it ever put you in a good mood? And when it's cold, especially, whew, so good. It improves fitness. It reduces the risk of chronic diseases. It boosts creativity. I get a lot of ideas when I'm out walking. It extends lifespan. It helps promote weight loss, as I have learned. This is the only cardio that I get. I don't do, like, I do strength training and I walk, and I'm not even fast. Like, I'm a mosier. When I go with my husband, he walks faster than me and he's got longer legs. But I'll tell you, I'm not fast, and yet it's helped with my weight loss. It's lowered my blood sugar. It helps your heart. It helps with stress management. Like I said last week, that was one of the things that kept me sane this past week, of just a lot on my plate and trying to get everything done with all of the kids and all of the things, right? And it helped my stress. Again, it improves mood. It helps you sleep better. Nicole G brought this up. She messaged me and she's like, I started walking and man, my sleep is better. Does it improve your sleep? And the answer is yes. And by the way, that's not a direct quote. I'm just paraphrasing. And it has improved my sleep. So there's just all of these great things. The other thing for me, increase stronger bones, reduces pain. I get really sore back. And I find if I just continue to lay on the bed and my back is sore, it gets more sore. Whereas if I go on a walk, it loosens up my back and my body just feels so much better to move. It boosts brain power. It increases circulation. It increases lung capacity. Like, it does all these things and it's free, y'all. It doesn't cost anything to go for a stroll, to mosey to the mailbox, right? It just helps. I recently read a study, and I'm not going to include this in the show notes because I don't want to go find the study right now, but they found that 30 minutes of walking a day can grossly affect your health. Anyway, which is, my challenge right now is walk for 30 minutes outside. Now, why walk outside? I've talked about this before, but the Japanese have this practice of forest bathing. When you go and spend time outside and you're mindful of the outdoors, there is something, I believe, spiritually healing and emotionally healing about being in nature. Some of the hardest, I remember during 2020 with our business, we were dealing with some hard stuff, I think, as everyone did. That's not just us. But it was those daily walks that I felt like I was grounded. And I remember, I think I've shared this before, but this one particular morning was a really tough morning. We got really bad news, and really, really bad news the night before. And I was really upset, and I felt like all was wrong with the world. I mean, it was, because it was 2020. But I went on my walk, and as I walked, I looked at the mountains. I live at the base of Pikes Peak. And I looked up, and the sun was coming up, and the mountains were these hues of orange and purples and golds, and they were majestic. And I'm walking outside, and it was a perfect day. It was in the springtime, summer. It was like June. And just my heart was heavy. And as I'm on my walk, I just felt close to the divine. I just felt like everything would be okay. And being out in nature reminded me that God's bigger than all the stuff that we think we are worried about, even the mess that we dealt with during 2020. It was just this powerful reminder that he's bigger, and it'd be okay. Things would be okay. It wouldn't be great, but things would be okay, and I'd be okay. And so I wouldn't have had that experience had I not been in nature, feeling the elements and getting to see the majesty of this beautiful mountain and the mountain range, and feeling the wind on my face and allowing the elements to affect me. Again, they even found that, yes, so walking improves our health and mood, but then you couple that with being outside, and it reduces cortisol, it increases serotonin, it increases the dopamine. Like, it is, you put those two things together, and it is, again, small hinges swing big doors. It makes a big difference. The other reason that I like to walk outside, truth be told, is because if I'm on a treadmill, I'm not going anywhere. And then I get lazy. And then after 5 minutes, I'm bored and then I want to get off. Whereas if I'm walking outside and I walk for 15 minutes, I don't have a choice except for to come home, because I walk somewhere and the only way to get home is by walking back. So it forces me to stay on the walk, and it's far more interesting. I don't get bored on my walks outside, but I do get bored if I'm on a treadmill. So I don't like treadmills for that reason. That, and I've kind of fallen off a couple treadmills in my lifetime. So I do have that going for me. So my challenge to you is, especially as now we're in a physically darker season, which I don't know why we do this, and it's something that I wish we would change. But anyway, now that we've set our clocks back, which I love, that actually setting the part back, setting clocks back and getting an hour extra of sleep, but I don't love how dark it gets. And so now that walk becomes even more important, because being in darkness affects mental health. And so bringing in that walk each day can help us mentally stay joyful and stay grounded and stay positive. And we get all the natural highs of the serotonin and the, all the great hormones that we have. It will help those. So my challenge to you all is to go on a walk, take a stroll, go with somebody or go by yourself. I sure like walking by myself, but I also like walking with my husband. And I do like walking with friends, except for every time I go with friends, they're really fast and I'm not. So there's that. But that's my challenge for you, is to take a walk. Now, what does this have to do with homeschooling? I will tell you. You are the parent who has to homeschool these, or grandparent who has to homeschool these lovely cherubs, and your mental health and your physical health needs to be okay for you to fulfill the responsibilities that you need to, which are vast and great. And this is one of those tools to help you be a better parent or a better grandparent or a better homeschooler. And it sets a great example for your kids and grandkids. So with that, take a stroll, my friends. Watch for the bonus episode that's coming out later this week. For those that are wanting to get the Open and Go experience, it's in the show notes. In the meantime, one last thing. This is heresy, but Halloween's over. And for Canada, Thanksgiving's over. However, for those of us in the United States, my husband is totally against this, but I am all for it, and I'm going to do it next week. Go ahead and put up your Christmas decorations. I give you permission. With that, you've got this, mamas and papas, grandmas and grandpas. You're doing better than you think you are. We'll talk next week. If you enjoyed this today, please like and subscribe. You could also join our private Facebook group at School to Homeschool, or sign up for our newsletter at www.schooltohomeschool. Have a great day.